legs today, so I'll talk until Luke wants to talk.
We're done.
Today was basically his quad day, but an easy way to prioritize some hamstrings, because one, it won't take away from your quad workout at all, starting with hamstrings. So we did 2 working sets on hamstrings, and basically, as you'll see kind of as we went through everything, it was just 4 exercises. Seated leg curls. I like seated leg curls. If people wonder why we're doing the seatbelt, lock it in, is you don't want to exhaust anything you've got to use later on. So even with like a lying leg curl, you have to use the muscles of your torso and your lower back to keep your pelvis still while you're doing it, and then when you squat, that stuff's already fatigued a little bit. Yeah. So literally the whole point of the belt is he doesn't have to use any torso musculature. It locks his hips in place. Between that and a thigh pad, it's 100% just hamstrings. So we can wax the hamstrings and not have to have any effort, in anything else. And that way, when we go into squats, then he's pretty much fresh and his whole body's not really fatigued at that point. Like that.
There you go. Very good, very good. We have that one. Pretty much. Is it the Life Fitness or is it Cybex? It's pretty much the same. Hypertrophy training. Trying to hypertrophy our hams, hypertrophy our quads with the Hypertrophy Coach. So today is all about hypertrophy.
There we go. Again, same deal. Control. Hard. Again, Luke, come on. Control. No bounce. Hard. Go. Finish. Good.
We're done.
That was just right.
That was a bite.
Good, yeah. And just for watching, like, I don't know, what you guys see for cueing and all that kind of stuff. Like I said beforehand, like, should go without saying. Well, it doesn't go without saying, because just being massive and being a pro doesn't mean you know what you're doing. But Luke knows what he's doing. And he really does. He trains. Obviously, he trains extremely, not just heavy and hard and all that, but like if you look at his form on things, that's why I like Luke. Is it's like some people are happy that they're strong, and they literally have like just atrocious form. And I'm like, you're not really strong. You're just pretend strong. So Luke's actually strong because he's got really good form on everything. So you'll see it's like really subtle adjustments everywhere. Like positioning of his legs a little bit on the leg curls with like the squats. It was just basically talking a little bit through his thought process more than anything else. I don't even really care necessarily. Like people think, oh, I got to do this pace or this tempo. Just talking through. All right, well, squat's only hard at the bottom, so let's make sure that we're nailing that position. And the rest kind of is what it is. So that's the kind of stuff where if I was saying ahead of time, I really wanted to come over today just to take him through the session, because on paper the session's very boring. Seated leg curls, safety bar squats, leg extension, leg press, and that's it. But I think the more advanced you get and the more you know what you're doing, just subtle things that you really need, where if I just wrote him down on a piece of paper, he wouldn't have had what we had today going through it. Around 5 to 6, where feel like you've got 2 left in the tank. But I want you doing them like that, where it's just slower negatives, little pause and bump.
So basically working sets are not going to be to all-out failure here.
Yeah, correct.
Okay. That's kind of how we do.
Yeah.
Well, because my mentality is things like when you're really heavy with a bar, personally I think trying to go to all-out failure is just dangerous. Because as soon as if you just tweak something just to get the rep, that's when you're going to get hurt.
Yeah. Well, especially something like this where it's like what's working aside from your quads. It's like everything, like minus maybe your earlobes or something. Your earlobes are working though, yeah.
My earlobes are being they're constantly under load.
But so the whole thing is, and it's one of those things where at the end of the day, it's not to get too nerd, but everything for training is stimulus. That much load, and especially in that bottom position, is adequate stimulus most of the time without going to failure anyway. And especially because you'll get it somewhere else. I mean, my ass gets huge when I do back squats, but it's just the ass and all the rectors. And when I go into something like this or a front squat, my squat looks a lot prettier.
Yeah, see, my front squat's great, but it was pushing my jugular.
Yeah, well, that's like the beauty of this, is where it's a front squat without wrecking, having to hold on to all that shit.
Last time I was in 5 plates,
Yeah.
Like I did like, I think I did 2 reps.
Yeah.
And I just woke up with something going.
Oh yeah.
I was like blacked out.
Oh yeah, I have that happen almost every single time you're going. Part of you kind of likes it, but then it's like, well, that's actually not good for that to really happen. You good to go?
It's probably not ideal.
No. You good to go 2 plates? That's pretty much what you guys are already doing. Sounds very perfect. Just accumulating some volume.
Fucking do this. Do this. Adrian.
Good reps. Come on, man. Hard. It's a good set. I like those little parts right in the middle of the rep where it slows down just a little bit. And for the rest of us, it looks like it just slowed down a little bit. And for you, it felt like it was like 10 minutes. Like you could have eaten a sandwich then. The light flashed before your eyes. So basically just trash his hamstrings with the complete isolation. With the squats, I tell him just to go basically as heavy as he can. We're doing a lot of quality sets around 5 to 6, working up to a top set of around 5 to 6.
Yeah.
And just trying to keep it basically, I was saying keep it 1 or 2 reps in reserve on that one to the point where nothing's going to break. Because on a squat, your quads probably won't be the thing that gives out. It'll probably be your back or your hips or something else. So just let the weight do the job. And obviously most people, I train like a cupcake for about 2 weeks post show. So he's 3 days post show and still doing 5 plates on the safety squat bar, which is pretty impressive. And so whatever weight he's doing, he can do with quality form. That's just what we found out it was today. And then leg extensions, basically a great place to just completely trash his quads, not having to worry about breaking a whole lot. So we did 2 pretty brutal sets there, 1 top set to a drop set, and then another top set with 2 drops on it. So great place. That's what we kind of talked about. If we want to make a little adjustment to the on-paper stuff, it's just a way to accumulate a little bit more volume.
Yes.
And so that's the way we kind of snuck it into some drop sets on the leg extension, a place where, again, if we're doing drop sets or lots of sets on the squats, his back's going to break before his quads do. So that's just a great place to really trash the quads and not have to worry about much else. This is kind of just what I go by feel, and I think is a good place to go. Like for taking reps past failure, I feel like if you can still contract for a pretty decent part of the range of motion, then those are the reps I'll take past failure. So like on the lying leg curl, the first rep I spotted you could do 80% of the range of motion by yourself. So I went 1 more. And then the next rep was like maybe 60% of the range of motion by yourself and then 1 more. Once you get to the point where like if you can't contract any part of the range, that's where I think you're getting to the point where maybe you're just gonna shit the bed, something's gonna break or hurt. And that's kind of just like a feel thing. I think it's an intelligent way to do it. So again, it's like, well, wouldn't 20 reps past failure be like harder? It's like, well, maybe, but something's gonna break. So there's a point where contractions just become garbage, Let's go. Come on. 3 more, come on. Lock your body in stone. Just the quads, come on, hard. 2 more, come on. A couple more. Come on, man, 6 weeks, let's go. Hard. Nice, bud. Come on, man. Come on. 1 more, Luke. These little 3 grill. Let's go. Come on. Squeeze. That top section. Hard. Like that. 2. Alright. 1 more. Hard. Yep. Right there. Good. and then leg press last. One, bands, just because it's harder. That's the only reason we use bands. It makes the exercise better because instead of just being very, very hard at the bottom and easy the rest of the way, it just makes it equally hard the whole time. And it's one of those things where, and honestly, I like it being a lazy bodybuilder, and then you just get to put less plates on as well too.
That was fun.
Yeah, that's the worst part. Yeah. So that's the thing. People mess up on the leg press is if you're going to band it, it has to be heavy bands unless you're literally only doing a plate aside to start with, which is fine if you're grandma or brand new. But if you want to use bands properly, they have to be heavy bands. So we put some heavy ass bands around the back just to make it horrible. And basically did all sets of 10 to 12 up to a top set of, Luke did a lot there, so I don't know if it was the first set might have been 10 to 15. Then we racked it, stripped some weight, did another, I don't know how many reps, to failure, a little past failure. And then we put the safeties up and we did some partials, just the top half. Normally doing just the top half of the leg press wouldn't be very hard at that point in time, but that's the whole point of the band as well too. That's the hardest part.
That was really difficult.
Yeah, surprisingly hard, right? Yeah. And so again, that's a great way. You call that technically one working set, but we had probably a total of 10 or 12 reps past failure, kind of to the point of destruction. So yeah, it's on paper. I think it's the order was for a reason that we talked about. The exercise selection was for a reason, but then the big difference is the way that he's doing the reps. And if you guys look at the little things like one or two little cues in the leg extension and the leg curls, and the difference between someone like Luke and the average person is if you look at the way he completed the last couple reps, is that's where most people just shit the bed. So it's one thing of like, oh, I do a lot of weight, oh, I do pretty good form. When you get to failure and then I make you do 3 more reps, basically his last 3 reps and Ben's last 3 reps look the same as their first 3 reps. So if there's something that most amateurs need to focus on, or people that are kind of in the beginning of their training career, is when you're getting to the points with max load, max repetitions, past failure. Good boy, Luke. Come on. Yes. Come on.
Come on.
You got reps in there. Let's go, Luke. Come on. Those are the ones that make a difference. Come on. Come on. 2 to go now. 2. Come on, Luke. Hard. 4 more. Come on.
Nice. Come on.
Come on, man.
Come on,
yeah,
bud. Let's go.
That's what you want on stage, man. Come on, hard.
Yes.
Let's go 2. Come on. Up. 1. Come on. Yep. Yeah, I got you.
Drive.
Yep, come on. Yep.
Let's go.
Yep, come on. Just work, man. Come on, whatever's in there. Let's go. Come on, I got you now. Come on. Up. Come on. 2 to go. Come on.
Come on. Yes.
Last 1. Come on. Up.
I think what people don't understand as well, which is we're training muscles, not lifting weights.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people are like, oh yeah, it's all about progressive overload, lifting more weight. But if your form goes to shit,
yeah,
or you're not executing the movement properly, you're wasting your time.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's why, as you said, it's really important to make sure all your reps are the same.
Yeah. And especially when it matters. I mean, the whole reason you're doing it is those last reps.
I know the other thing is as well, form doesn't mean tempo. Form doesn't mean like how it looks. It's also like how well it's being performed, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because anyone can do, like, you can lift the weight with a good tempo. It still doesn't mean it's good form.
Yeah.
You still have to be recruiting the muscle you want to be hitting.
Yeah.
My voice is just completely gone.
That's all right. But that's the nice thing is where it's like people get confused. They look from the outside and be like, oh, I made him do slow form. I didn't make him technically do any pace. That's the good part about working with someone advanced is he knows what harder feels like.
Yes.
And so if I said, okay, just hold here or hold here, basically I know that's the hardest point of the exercise where there's the most benefit. So let's just make it harder there. Yeah. And that's kind of the goal of all of it. That's progressive overload in my opinion. If your form gets better with a given weight, that's progressive overload.
I always try and tell people I work with, they're like, oh, I'm not getting stronger. I'm like, yeah, but is your execution getting better? They're like, yeah, I'm feeling it more. I'm like, well, that to me is progress as well.
Yeah, for sure. So anyway, great session. I didn't have to do any working out, which was nice. Actually, next time I will. We'll make sure that
I thought you were going to train today.
I actually did legs on Sunday, so pretty trash today.
But Joe, I really appreciate you coming down.
Yeah, absolutely.
I've learned a lot. Ben, we've got to do that like 6 times in the next 6 weeks.
Yeah.
I'm going to do a Joe. I'm going to be Joe for the next.
So you're going to grow a sick beard and just tell
So I'm going to stand there and watch.
Yeah. That was hard.
Well, I'll do it 6 times.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, absolutely.
Good.
Here's my sign off. End of video.